Hello and welcome to another session of Strixhaven School of Mages. This is played using the Dungeons and Dragons 5e supplement book for this. Strixhaven is a Magic the Gathering setting. They did just one set of it, but it's quite nice. And they've got a source book that is, I would say, 70% module and then about 30% worth of resource materials. It's got a lot of interesting stuff in it. We are playing a slightly modified version of that. And our characters have arrived, had a mix up with their dorms, gotten to their dorms, been to each of their classes, met their instructors, interacted with each other on that. Last time, they took up their extracurricular activities and were able to make those choices. And then at the end, they were at the Fire Jolt Cafe, and there was a race of different found frogs, and there was some bonding that occurred during that. But then something occurred and caused a horrific transformation of the frogs. We're going to come back to that in just 1 second. In fact, actually kind of where we're going to take up sort of in the immediate aftermath of that. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming club, which you can find out more about at gauntlet-rpg.com. We've got about 100 games on the calendar each month. This is probably the most trad end of our play, but we've also had a lot of people doing OSR over the last couple of months. And we do a lot more story games and indie games as well. So there's a variety of things. If you are watching or listening to this video, know that there are a lot of other recorded videos on the Gauntlet YouTube channel and on my channel, which you can check out with all kinds of games. So you can check that out. So I imagine there's kind of that sort of crash cart, doors getting thrown open, people coming through, Fen carrying your handful of your little frog friend in your hands, Direlond along with you. I imagine Wolfie, Fonzie, you were kind of in the wake of Fen here. Tell me, Fen, you're being sent to sort of the physical revivinists or the resurrectionists area of this. What do you suppose that portion of the school looks like? Like what's the space that we're seeing when we come in? Dirty, bright, clean? Like what do we see texture wise?
I think I was imagining something like the Spires of the Morning Lord from I forget where that is. Is that in Waterdeep?
I think so.
Yeah. So if it seems appropriate, I'd like to say that we're sent to the church and that it's like gold and sunshines, and it's definitely got some Lathander vibes to this place.
Absolutely. And you will see that there is a priest who will come rushing down. He is wearing what Wolfie you will identify as, when you have a sort of cross faith church, there's someone who kind of acts as the intermediary, the intercessor between the different faiths, and you will see this Nizumi rattling in white robes, and he will come running up and he will say, "My name is Padashan Risk Whisker. What seems to be the matter? I had word sent to me by the headmaster that there was some issue."
And wordless, I just hold the hands out and with urgency, like probably poke him in the chest with these remains
Uh,
and then say, you can help, right? You can help, right?
Perhaps you could give me just a fair amount of detail about the situation. Why are we holding out these? I can't even identify the animal that
Oh,
this is.
oh. Well, look right there. You can see a small femur, and over here you can see a rib, and right there you can see the skull. This is a frog.
He's a frog. I see. And he'll look over at Fonzie and Wolfie, but his eyes will rest on Wolfie. And perhaps you could illuminate me.
I think Wolfie is probably just in pieces, and he's like sobbing, and he's like, and then my hands.
Young man turns to you, Fonzie. Perhaps you could. What is?
Before he turns, can I?
Yes.
Before he turns, can I like literally illuminate him? Like, I think maybe we get like a shot from like the outside of where we are, and literally from like the little windows, there's like this weird like Maleficent Disney villain green and black that like like lights up the tower. And then I think I just probably just did it with my hands or something again.
Takes a pause. Points to you, Fonzie. Could you clarify for me? Am I to resurrect this frog?
Well, I mean, in fairness, it did try to kill us.
No, it's my best friend. You really should resurrect this frog.
And on the other hand, it's his best friend. And Fen is one of my best friends. So I think by law of transference, this frog is one of my best friends as well.
I think at the mention of like it tried to kill us, Wolfie at that moment will wail like.
Come with me. We will go and get a death priest, and
that
he'll
sounds fair. Yeah.
walk you down to the church. There are various alcoves and things like that. You can see that they change up a little bit of the tiles, the decorations and things, depending on like who is here at the school and present and things like that. And he will go and he will go to one of the lecterns and read something and like listen, clearly commune. He'll say, she'll be here just shortly. Would you please put him in the silver bowl there on the altar? What was your name, young man?
Oh, Fen Oakenshade.
All right, Fen, put your friend as much as you can, and make sure to brush off your hands into the bowl there.
I deposit the remains and brush my hands thoroughly.
He says, Master.
You said a death priest?
Yes.
Not a life priest?
You wish to call this frog back from the other side, correct?
Right, yes.
Yes, they deal with death.
Oh, okay.
There's no worry. No need to worry. It's all terminology, nomenclature. Since Master Darland has sent a note to say that the costs for the resurrection will be handled by him, which is very generous, even with the discounting for the size of the animal to be resurrected. But so make sure that you thank him afterwards, please.
Okay.
What does this death priestess look like, Wolfie?
Oh. I think it's a drow.
Okay.
Isn't that a D&D thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Yeah, I think it's a drow.
One of the elven cultures, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the hat is very tall.
Okay.
which means she has a higher ranking within her,
Kind of the hood hat that kind of comes down and trails back in black. Okay.
Oh, sure. And very long sleeves. I mean, like, just has to like gather, and then they finally fall, Yeah.
And she will glide past all of you to rest her hands on Fonzie's shoulder. Have we met before? There seems something so terribly familiar about you.
You might have met my great uncle.
Who was your great uncle?
I've never actually come up with a first name for him. He's Lyodin, though. It's Uncle Mortimer Lyodin.
She pulls her hands back very quickly. Well, that would explain that then. She'll turn around, moves away from you quickly, and she confers with Wrist Whisker, and then she'll come over to where you are at, Fen, and say, "Will you give me just a drop of your blood to help with this?"
I aside to Cisco, I'm like, I'm not sure this is a good idea. But
yes. I mean, yes.
Yeah. Hold your hand over this. And if you will prick your finger with a knife or a needle or something. What does your blood look like?
Yeah. Giant blood. I think it's black.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it will fall into there, and you will see her incant, and you see her take out like a tiny gem that and kind of focus it through that, and you'll hear the crack as that sort of material offering is taken up, and a cloud of whitish mist will roil down off of her hand into the bowl and swirl around, and you can just kind of make out the shifting and turning in there, and it will boil away, and you will see your friend seated there, like looking around, like panicked.
I'd like to speak with animals.
Okay.
And say, "You're back. I was so worried about you. How are you feeling?"
You have no idea what it's like on the other side. I've been there. I am the croaking Fane. I have returned. You have no idea what the darkness is like around this place, what it is. So cold, and so many haunted and trapped there.
And I just have to hug the frog right now.
Oh. Yes. Hold me close. I'm so cold. I'm so cold.
Look, Wolfie, he's back.
I think Wolfie will finally have stopped crying at this point.
Frog turns its little head and its eyes bore into you. Just with absolute accusation and anger. Just.
Oh, this is definitely a bad idea.
I'm sorry, little guy. I'm sorry.
She will say, is that adequate to what you required?
Oh, it's perfect. Thank you.
There may be some after effects in that I have called him wholly and spiritually back. And so his consciousness may be slightly more expanded than it was previously.
He does seem more articulate in his expressions.
Oh, well then that's good. You have delightful conversations.
Oh yes, they'll be great.
Yes. Well, I will be taking my leave.
Priestess. Before you head out, are there any risks of hangers on when souls are restored?
She looks at you dead on and she says, "I'm not a necromancer."
Oh, sorry. of course.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
Did you go to school here?
She looks because no.
Because no. Okay.
I was raised some ways away from here, and was called. Why do you ask?
Oh, we have to choose schools pretty soon, and I was thinking, man, whatever school you went to here, it's got to be a good one, but it was far away.
Well, I appreciate that's very nice of you to say. Feel free if you need anything. And she seems like quite like you're being very nice to her. And you have the sense that maybe death priests don't get necessarily positive attention. And she will say, if you ever need anything, please come and see me up. My name is Leave Take.
Leave Take.
Yes. And she will bow to you, Wolfie. She'll say, brother. And she'll head on. And Padashan Riskwich will say, well, that went very, very well.
Necromancers always get a bad rap.
She said she's not a necromancer.
She's not a necromancer.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that, like, and what if she was?
I think if this is okay with you, Vincent, like, you know, back home at the orphanage at the temple, like my parents do this sort of thing, and like so does the rest of my family. Like, you would drop the word necromancer, and like I have a feeling like they would get onto you for that as well.
Well, let's leave the whole necromancy question aside for now, shall we then? Is there anything else that you need?
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Quintilius, he was really badly hurt.
Oh yeah.
That guy. Is he okay?
I assume he's been taken to the
Or not
physicers.
Quintilius, Grayson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Grayson.
I assume that he has been taken to the physicers if there was an injured student.
Well, maybe we should go visit Grayson and make sure that he's doing well.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to do, Fonzie?
It's fine. It's an opportunity to rub in his face that I saved his life.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll cut from that. Passion Risk as well will bow to you, Wolfie, and say, I hope to see you soon, brother.
We'll be coming back for my penance. So as per the religion as he understands it, he has to come back for confession and to see what he needs to do for all this trouble he has caused.
So tell me, Fonzie, what, like, it could go out of this building, head to another section of the campus outside of this temple. There is probably essentially the medical building, physicers, and for those who work with life magics and healing and things like that. But tell me, what does that look like?
Okay. I think one of the big details of it is that it's crowded. It's not chaotic like the school paper was. Like it's actually very orderly and very like well subdivided. But like every kid that's here, and there's just kind of like a steady stream of like kids coming in, kids heading out, has some kind of magical ailment, usually because of a spell that they screwed up. So just kind of like backfire effects. You have somebody that has used like a change appearance, and they've just kind of, they made a face and it stayed that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's
a variety of alchemical maladies from experimentations, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Trying to think of another, like,
tentacle arm. You got one guy who's got a tentacle instead of an arm.
The actual people who have actual sort of inflicted injuries that are in their own sort of smaller group, but there's a
it's
lot
a very
more.
small word for traditional injury.
Yeah.
If I could add another detail, I think there's like maybe an older student with like a really big cloak and a long neck, but he's holding his own head, just sort of sitting there waiting. Yeah.
I do think that Grayson has a private room, though.
Oh, absolutely. So you can go in. He will speak to the matron who's on duty. He will tell you cure wound spells were cast upon your companion, and he is recovering nicely. It is mostly the shock to the system, both from such severe injuries and for the first time of having to have such potent healing magics cast upon oneself.
Yeah, first time's always the hardest.
And you can go in, and you will see that there are a couple of other people here from House the Malbrecht dorm that are in here, including the Owlin, Shivadri, and some others. And they all kind of look at you three as you come in with like, what are you doing here? Kind of look on their faces.
Hey, what's up? How's our boy Grayson? Heard he got beat up by a frog.
My pet frog is now like a permanent installment on my shoulder.
And Shivadri will say he is recovering. Do you wish to speak with him, Master Alphonse?
Yeah, I mean, we both work at the paper.
Yes, he mentioned your presence at the scene of his injury. And Grayson is there. Like clearly, he still has the physical, clothing marks and things like that where he got hit, and bruising that's recovering here. And his eyes will narrow when he sees you coming because he knows this can't mean anything good.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, good. Look, he looks so healthy now. So much better than he did before.
You should see the frog. No offense.
So good.
I'm feeling much better.
It's good.
Your lacerations are all gone. There's no more bleeding.
It's like there's an injury to your jaw. You're not like opening your mouth fully to talk, I'm noticing.
Was there something that you needed?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that any stories you're working on don't drop off. If there's anything that you need me to like pick up a byline on.
I can take care of it myself.
Okay.
And we came over to make sure that you were well.
Sure.
Well,
make sure to tell the others that you're okay.
I appreciate that. Maybe not bring that frog so close by me there, Master Fenn.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll step back.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's just a frog now, though.
Yeah, look, this man was almost killed by a frog. So
they were different at that time.
Yeah, but I can understand that once you've almost been killed by a frog, you have kind of an adverse reaction to them. So it's okay. If I had almost been killed by a frog, Grayson, I'd be pretty scared of frogs too.
I understand. I'll wait by the door.
Yeah. He's terrified.
Grayson will
of
turn
frogs.
to you. Why don't you take Master Fonzie with you?
All right, come on, Fonz.
All right, I'll hop to it.
I don't think
kind of really... left alone. Grayson will stare at you, Wolfie. Was there anything else that you had to say?
Oh no, I just hope you feel better. I brought you these. I think he's probably brought him maybe some like school snacks from the first place where we went and bought all those sweaters and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
From he'll say,
the school store.
These are
it
very.
Sounds like he'll be okay, but don't leap to conclusions.
Thank you. These are delightful. They're very plebeian. Thank you.
Plebeian. I've never been called plebeian before. And I'll walk out.
And I think we'll cut away from your work there.
It's probably for the best.
Probably for the best. We will cut forward a little, figure out a couple of things about stuff that's going on. Like no one, when you kind of ask about it later, has any real clear information about exactly why the frogs transformed. When you talk to some of the teachers, the response seems to generally be someone's looking into it. And then that kind of goes on. But right now, your studies are kind of at the fore, since all of you want to proceed. So we went through the classes that you all have, and I mentioned that like depending on the class, you have students from one of the other dorms in that class with you. So I'd like to let's figure out like what the tone is of each of those dorms. So we have House Zaramar. We have the house that you just interacted with our fine Owlin and Grayson. That's House Malbrecht. We have House Galleon, and we have House Thorns. And if you look on the NPC page and the NPC Students tab, you can see some of the students from each of those dorms. So, Wolfie, Cisco, which of those dorms do you want to tell us something about the character? Do you want to establish a feature of?
Oh, yeah. We just interacted with House Malbrecht, was
Malbrecht,
it?
yes.
Malbrecht. I think that...
I'll kind of screen share here so we can kind of... So we've got this sort of... Here's Zarmar, and then Grayson and Malbrecht, and then Aurora in Galleon, and Meluthorn in Thorns. And then there's below each of those is another one from their particular dorm.
From their house, yes. I think House Malbrecht is very... I think they're like, I think they deal in secrets. That has been their like traditional sort of reputation. Think of like the Nosferatu from Vampire the Masquerade. Let's move way back to when
so it's the dorm where the people who are a little more sinister, supposedly, like this is the school reputation, a little more conveyors of secrets.
And I think maybe they have been trying to work out of that reputation because a lot of those in the faith are supposed to keep confidentiality, you know, when they deal with those who come into the church. And maybe that's been the gossip that like their priests, you know, don't maintain confidentiality like they should.
So this is kind of one of those scurrilous rumors that's put out there by people in the other dorms that the students who are there are particularly broken of faith.
I think they're really good at what they do. When you show up at the church, obviously they brought back our froggy friend, our Batrachian friend, but like maybe they don't get visited by council. Like I figure like maybe like the faiths also function as maybe like also mental health counselors as well.
Okay, so is this dorm this dorm is specific like for priests? You should keep talking back the faiths for them.
Yeah, because I thought you had said that the death priest that we visited was from that.
No, I don't think so.
Oh no?
No.
Did I? Oh, okay. Um,
I'm just clarifying in the fiction.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grayson was though, right?
Yeah.
Grayson was okay. From Malbrecht. Let's say that then. Let's just keep it at like they deal in secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, and they broker in information.
And what they are the house that is the same. They're in the history class with you. Like you share your history class with them. What is it like being in class with them? The other first years from Malbrecht. What's their attitude?
I think that they like they seem to have like an alternate history of what really happened. And so maybe they show a bit of disdain and disrespect for the professor as he's explaining history as it was written.
It's clear that Malbrecht, there are a number of students there who went to very prestigious private schools beforehand and have a very different perspective on that they're constantly raising their hands to, well, actually, and to contradict, much to your professor's annoyance.
But then having to cut it off and be like, oh, wait a minute, we can't talk about that, the real history. No, you're right. We'll go along with this. No.
Yeah, I think it turned into that. I think it started with like a lot of interruptions, and then now it has just turned into like the professor will say something, they'll turn to each other and they're like,
whisper.
Sometimes a snicker, or sometimes like an SMH, and then they'll just
nice
your way. Yeah.
Fen, we have 3 more dorms. Zaramar, we have Galleon. I don't think we've met NPCs from either of those yet. And then there's Thorns. We have met one of those NPCs. Mina Lee is from there, and she is in the journalism with Alphonse. So which dorm do you want to like give us the personality of?
Question. Rampart there, could he be part of the philosophy group that I'm in?
Sure, we can have that as one of his 2 extracurriculars.
Okay. So I think that Zaramar is the dorm that I'd like to add some detail to.
Okay.
And let's see. I think that I was invited over for tea and philosophy after weightlifting one day. And I gotta say, they keep like a very clean and open dorm, to the point where I was uncomfortable. There's like no dust in this place whatsoever. And they're all super nice, but I'm probably not going to go back. They didn't even have a plant in there. It's unnerving. No pets.
No pets. No like tiny Drider people in the corners,
right?
Spider webs.
I mean, the tea was good, and they had like really nice artwork that they liked talking about, but just so sterile.
And Zaramar is the class that you share your sort of basic thaumatology theory of magic course with. What are they like in there?
Thaumatology. Remind me what thaumatology is.
Basically, it's the study of magic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your like entry level basic magic principles course that you have to take, even though you probably know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. I think they overshare and basically like start running the class until the teacher reins them in a little bit. And they're teaching like way too advanced stuff for these students. And they're probably the reason that half of those people were heading to the infirmary. Maybe not half, but a good handful of them. Because it's like, oh, look at this. Here's how you summon a tentacle. No, not where your arm was.
They're very much, they would like to be in the labs. They would like to get to the practicum. All of this is, we're just going at such a slow pace.
Yeah.
They're really annoying.
So anytime there's a group and one of them are in the group, they just like take the group by the reins and run the exercise way too fast and are always disappointed with the work product of anyone who's partnered up with them.
Nice. What do you think of Badoom? I mean, he's this large, and I can't remember right now what the name of the people are from Ravnica, but the elephantine folk.
Yeah,
what do
it
you think
wasn't
of
the
him?
GIF, it was the other one. I like him a lot. As long as, I'm not going to the dorm, but out and about, he's a riot. We've had just some fascinating conversations. He taught me how to actually use that machine that tried to ensnare me the first time that I interacted with it.
Yeah. He has said to you a couple of times, he says, now I think that you are an excellent choice for our group. I'm not entirely certain how good a fit your friend Greta is. She may be not the same, not come from the same stock as you and I.
Remind me who Greta is, please.
Greta is that little dwarf sort of weightlifter who also got kind of shown up last time during the.
And I think she's right there when he's saying this.
Yes.
Like, oh, come on.
And she keeps her mouth. What do you say?
I say, Rampart, I know you think that we're a good fit, and I really appreciate working with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to say, we're gonna. Greta's way more my speed, and that I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, you and the rest of the Zaramar dorm, you're just moving way faster. You need
say no more. You should say more. If you are vouching for your friend, I will say no more about the subject.
Okay.
I will say no more.
But I really appreciate the instruction.
Oh, no. And more tea?
No, thank you. Thanks, but no thanks.
Alphonse, we have Galleon and we have Thorns. Thorns has Mina. Galleon has a Dompier K-pop singer there, and an elemental folk. Which one do you want to describe?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Thorn's dorm.
Okay.
Nobody expects much of Thorn's dorm. Out of all the different dormitories on campus, they have the smallest percentage of what are referred to as full casters, which is kind of a discriminatory way of putting it.
Okay.
Mina, as an example, is a bard. We have a name, Milwathorn. Let's have Milwathorn be a ranger.
Okay.
It's basically, it's like everyone has adopted those classes that can dip into magic, but that's not their full deal. So as a result of it, like they're a really diverse dorm of people with like a wide variety of skills. They're really, really cool to hang out with because it can really give you a different perspective on everything. Like so many of these other classes, Malbrecht in particular, like everybody's very much of one mind. But the people at Thorns, they challenge each other a lot more.
So the sort of the arcane thieves and the magical monks and the sorcerers, assassins, and all of those kinds of folk are mixed into there. Just a handful of actually full casters.
Yeah, and
as
even
some people call
then,
them.
like more sorcerers and fewer wizards.
Okay. They are the ones that are with you in that arcane terminology class that is taught by your metamancer. Oh, sorry, no, the that's actually Salvia heathertoes, I believe. The Prismari. What are they like in that class, that arcane terminology class?
She absolutely loves them. I mean, she kind of loves everybody in the class, but they do a lot of work to support each other and come up with like mnemonic devices to remember all this terminology because it's not second nature for them. And they will, like, when an exam is coming up and they're doing kind of like study sessions and strategies, they'll come up with like songs to go through all the, a textbook worth of terms. They have like an adaptation of Modern Major General that addresses all of the different terms that have been introduced over the course of the semester. And they'll perform it for the whole class, which anybody who's not in Thorns absolutely hates.
Okay.
But the professor is gung-ho about it, learns the song with them, like applauds at the end of it. So teacher loves them, kind of outcast for the rest of the class. But Fonzie appreciates them.
I'd like to go around and give you all a chance to call a scene, either with a fellow PC or with a couple or with an NPC, just to get a sense of what your life is like before we kind of move into some more incidents. And today we're also going to be trying out the exam system, or you roll for tests. By the way, did everybody level themselves up to level 3?
Oh, I don't remember if I did or not. I'll have to check.
Okay, check on that.
I rolled for hit points and got 1 more hit point.
Oh, I hate that so much. So Wolfie?
Nicholas, you had mentioned you had found the button for auto level up?
I did, yeah. Let me pull up my character sheet. Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of selecting things for that.
I probably am too. Is it the Character Mancer?
It's the Character Mancer. There's like a auto level Character Mancer button.
Sweet. I'm in the middle of that as well.
Yeah, if you want to figure that out, just so if there's any questions or we can talk about what you've learned. In the meantime, Vince, did you already level up? So tell us, like, what has changed, what kind of growth has happened with Fonzie besides 1 additional hit point?
Yeah. So Fonzie has really devoted himself more to his pact with Uncle Mortimer. So he received his pact boon, which was a grimoire called a Book of Shadows. I still have to pick what the cantrips I've learned from it are, but it's...
Where did this book just appear, or did he send you on a quest to go and find it hidden away somewhere, or was it something else? Did someone come in the night and hand it to you? What is it?
So he sent me on a quest. It was in the library. But I think of in A Deadly Education how books find you because you're supposed to learn that spell. So it's that kind of thing where I'm not told go to this shelf to find this book. It's that I'm instructed to wander the halls and find a shelf that has not been touched in a very long time. And the book that I'm drawn to is the book that Uncle Mortimer wants me to have. Absolutely. And it has all of his own notes throughout it. So he has what he considers to be better approaches to specific cantrips. The other spell that he's taught me, so I was able to finally get a 2nd level spell, and I learned Borrowed Knowledge, which he used. And it's probably one of the worst 2nd level spells in the book, unless you're a really bad student and exams are coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Allows you to...
Allows me to gain proficiency in a skill for an hour.
Very nice. That is a good cheat. What does this book look like? Big, small?
it's a pretty small book with very, very fine print that's very faded. And unless you're really familiar and comfortable with my uncle's handwriting, which is atrocious, you're not going to be able to pick apart anything in it, because he's written like between lines, he's written over stuff. He has
palimpsests and bad handwriting. Okay.
Do you, by any chance, do you own the Trail of Cthulhu module, the Arkham papers?
I have Arkham Detective Stories, but I don't think Arkham Papers.
Yeah, I think that's the title of it. But it's like you're getting journal entries from the future, but they have handwritten notes.
Oh yeah, Armitage
like
Files. Yeah,
Armitage Files. That's right.
Yeah. I like that very much. Fen, going to third level, what has changed for you?
Okay, so I did acquire some new spells, some level 2 spells, and I think that it's reflected from my time exercising physically, doing the weightlifting. I can enlarge and reduce, and also enhance ability.
Those are nice. Yeah.
And then I also got something called Gentle Repose. I don't know, like in the fiction, how I learned this. Probably maybe my frog friend has been telling me about the state of death, and that has offered me a glimpse into how to preserve.
You have no idea how dark it is over there, and yet you can still see. You can hear the croaking of the ancestors in the distance, like a great swamp that lies empty and endless. But it's not empty.
What's in it?
Everything. Ribbon. He'll trail off sometimes when he's talking to you, like he's looking off in the distance.
Yes.
Wolfie, what kind of changes have you made?
I think Wolfie maybe has put on some muscle after swinging that hammer in sword fighting class. You know, and I think the teacher just has like really high expectations of him. He doesn't he doesn't like blunt weapons, so he's kind of expects them to swing it around like it was like a sword, so I think Wolfie has had no choice but to just get really big forearms. So
yeah, he's doing that that Dragon Ball Z thing where he keeps putting weights on your blunt weapon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and do you feel like Wolfie has deepened his knowledge as well, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he does like a lot of sitting from like other faiths and other churches, and there's like a lot of dialogue, something that like he's not used to, because pretty much the whole town just serves Essen, where he's from. Yeah.
Perfect. So let's do this. Let's take our first break here. We'll take 10. When we come back, I want to have you call scenes, and then we'll roll into some incidents. Does that sound okay? Okay. So let's take 10.
Can the scene that we do have to do with like how we get our job, or are we doing that later?
You can do whatever you want. I'll let you call whoever you want to talk to, whatever you want to do. We can set that up. Okay. So, Wolfie, what scene, what interaction do you want to play out here?
I don't want to play it out as much as I want to narrate, with your permission.
Sure.
Yeah.
Remind
me who our Inkmancer professor is. Is that Ignis Darkglass?
That is, look back on our thing here, scroll back up. Yes, that's Ignis Darkglass.
Okay, I think Ignis Darkglass summons Wolfie into their office, and says, Mr. Constantine, can you and I both agree that you have no skill in the art of Inkmancy? And like Wolfie just thinks he's gonna get like a really bad talking to, and he really doesn't. Like he's just really struggling with this class. Like his books, like the ink just like sort of like very pathetically splashes anytime he tries to do something with it.
All I ask is that you have the most like basic to get through our class. I don't even ask for sophisticated understanding of Inkmancy, just what like the sub cantrip level to be able to work with our texts.
Yeah, I think Wolfie has definitely put the cant in cantrip.
Okay.
When it comes to Inkmancy. And that's definitely a talk that like he gets all the time. And I think Igna's dark class has summoned him, and after he tells him, like, you know, can we both agree that you are just completely useless at this? She says, great. Then I'd like to hire you as my amanuensis. And so my job is just to follow her around and essentially write down everything they say all the time and whatever thoughts they have, you know, during my time. And they explain that anyone with any sort of skill in Inkmancy would maybe probably try to kill them, but I'm a safe bet because I can't, you know.
Right. And the others, they have like how do I say this? Skill and can contaminate the project. Whereas you need someone that's a tabula rasa, a savant of a kind.
I suppose my penmanship will come into at least some use here, Professor.
Yes. Were you told growing up that your penmanship was good?
Oh, no, Professor. I was beaten for it many times, but I at least know how to do it quickly.
Yes, you do have a knack for speed. We'll do cleanup later. Good. It's a simple job, a few gold. Let's see. That's just a gold piece a week should be sufficient, I think, to cover your expenses for this.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Please don't call me ma'am.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Good. Yeah, so what like you have to do that probably an hour or two a day. What kinds of things are you taking down? What do we see like in the montage of you doing this job?
I think that they magically keep several books actually like hovering around me, and I actually go from one book to the other all the time, and sometimes I'm like having to walk backwards and like maybe write in another one, and then they have like this other thought, and then we just switch. And I'll pull the table for like interesting content that I've like put in there.
Like what's one thing that Ignis is working on or doing right now, Fen, that has to be copied or transcribed by Wolfie?
Interesting is a matter of perspective, right?
Yes.
And so it's molds, right? Cataloging like 100 different varieties of mold.
The interesting thing about mold, and it is interesting, is that each mold can be put to a different purpose in terms of creating a different ink of a different quality, of a different color, of a different texture. Let's begin with the first ink, aardvark, and it's like that. What's another thing?
I think at one point they're finally like at lost for words, and they say something off the cuff about how like nobody appreciates this, and I think Wolfie will be like, would you say that you put the fun in fun guy, Professor? And then they say, yeah, add that. That seems good.
Add that. Good. Yes, a little levity. And what's a different thing that at the same time your Ignis Dark class, what that they're working on, Alphonse?
I think that we had established earlier that we have magical cameras that are demons that paint on easels when light is allowed in. I think that the ink used for those paintings it's very unstable, and Ignis is attempting to do research on developing a color ink that will be stable, that we can actually get like full color photography as like a research project. She hopes that she can, or they hope they can make money off this and perhaps no longer have to be a professor at Strixhaven, that this can be their ticket out of here.
Just get it to not so violently react to anything. It could work. It could work. The problem is, as well, getting the paint into those tiny easels. It's very hard to get in those boxes. All right. Fen, what is a scene that you want to call, or interaction with an NPC that you want to play out here?
I'd like to call brief attention to like a pre-scene, which is just studying in my room, which we've blown out the wall on.
Right.
And I think at this point you have like these vines that have just kind of worked their way into my room. And the reason I want this pre-scene is I want to see my cantrip bird playing with the squirrels with wings. And so there I am studying just diligently on a math book. And you've got the bird and the squirrel like just chasing each other around the room. And then cutting to my real scene. And probably in the pre-scene, you got the frog just sitting on my head as well, kind of watching them zip around the room. And then what I was thinking for my scene is I want to go out into the forest. There's got to be a forest nearby, and find the largest beast that can be found, potentially dead, and retrieve its skull for study. And so what I see that scene looking like is, oh, my frog, it's got to have a name. It can't just be my frog anymore. Names, ouch.
Can I pitch one?
Please.
It's a little ham-fisted, but can I pitch Lazarus to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think I keep calling him like Froggo, and he's like, it's Lazarus. and so eventually it's like, all right, Lazarus. Come on, we've got to ditch all this paperwork. I've been studying math for like 20 minutes now. That's so long. Let's go in the forest.
Which forest? Do we go outside the boundaries? Do we walk to the outer campuses, to the corridors there, or to the safer one that lies within the bounds?
No, we're going to the real forest, man. Don't worry. I'll keep you safe. We're just going on a scavenger hunt. It'll be great.
This is fine. Perhaps it'll take me away from the shadows that hang over us here at the school.
Right. You'll see new shadows. There's all sorts of shadows out there.
Oh, you have no idea. So what? What do you mention? So this is the school itself. Is that sort of big ring?
Yeah.
With the buildings, we've got that in the Roll20 thing. You can see that's the sort of campus. Outside, going out from those 5 paths, are where the 5 different sort of schools are, where Silver Quill and Prismari and stuff, where they have their bounds out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it does get in, all of them end in some wilds and stuff. So I assume you'd probably go to the one that is closest to Witherbloom, right?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And if I could, I'd like to maybe make a roll for a nature check to see if I find like that scavenging item of my dreams.
Okay, let me ask you this first.
Yeah.
Like the school, there's at least some control so the students don't just wander out into these outer campuses and into dangerous places. So how are you getting around that? What's the process that you need to do to get out to this wilderness?
I think I need a pass with a seal by not just a teacher, but the head of a school. And that could take a while.
Or you could just sneak past.
I could.
Or you could buy a forged pass.
Fonzie. You can sign this, right? You've got a seal.
Oh,
you know how to do this.
I have my family sigil, which that'll probably suffice. Probably like, it's a family ring with our crest on it. We have access to good wax. Sure.
I've already written it up for you. All you got to do is put the seal right there.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong or unethical with this. Bam.
Not at all. Would you make a deception roll for your forgery here, Fonzie?
Sure. Let me be proficient. Oh, wait, no, I'm already proficient in deception.
I know you're proficient in deception. I didn't think there was any question of that.
23.
Oh, yeah. In fact, you probably have like you've probably swapped one of your parents' actual seal with the Strixhaven notation on it for this. So you have you get that set. There are some gatekeepers you have to go through, Fen, and they will let you out. You get to the end of the bridge that goes over. Yes.
Add just like one additional detail to it. I think that like earlier on in my childhood, I many times wrote myself, sorry, Fonzie could not be in school today. He was sick. Notes.
Absolutely.
So I know my parents' handwriting very, very well.
Yeah. Signed, Mr. Fonzie. So you'll get to the other end of the bridge. You pass through those gates there. You can see Witherbloom's campus. It's there's no sort of the deep woods. I think I have a map actually of Witherbloom.
And I'm like, there it is, Lazarus. That's going to be my school someday.
This is, I've put up here the campus for that. So you can certainly make your way into the woods surrounding it. Let's have you make a nature roll. Actually, first roll, I think. Let's start with a survival check.
Oh, yes. It's not great.
That's not great. So I think you will find yourself wandering. You're like, I don't know which way to go. Let's go east.
That way. Obviously, that way is east, right there.
And I think you start walking in, you walk past some of the buildings and start getting into the woods, the dark woods, and kind of maybe move outside the bounds of the school. You're on the edge of the sort of the detention bog there. Go ahead and mark a level of exhaustion.
Ooh. Where on a character sheet is this exhaustion?
Oh, doesn't it have? Let me see. Let me look. I thought I had it in there.
Exhaustion, that is a serious thing. I could just make a note under the bio unless we
Yeah,
find it.
I don't see where it's at. Weird. I thought it had it on there. So exhaustion isn't bad until you get a couple of levels of it.
Yeah, I'm just going to mark my height as exhaustion 1.
Okay. And yeah, you are in a woods that feels very. You're used to your woods.
Mm-hmm.
These woods have a more of a malevolent feel to them, a more of like a feel where it's very clear that the woods are conscious of you and maybe wondering exactly how to eat you. But let's have you make that nature roll.
Not bad. 15.
So it's a 15. What is it that you are looking for? What kind of thing are you seeking out?
I'm looking for the skull of something monstrous. So I'm imagining like maybe an owlbear, maybe something else that would be like sizable, something to adorn my room with.
Yeah, I think you can find it's out the way. You find a couple of other skeletons here. Kind of look at them. Maybe there's just students. Maybe those are grounds people from a while back. And in the nearby area, you will find in this sort of forgotten pocket an owlbear's body. Very clearly, there was some kind of battle. You can see this. You would guess several years ago. Scorch marks here. And yeah, you can find this skull there.
See, Lazarus, you were scared, right? I wasn't scared.
Oh, I'm not scared either. I have no fear anymore. I've already seen the darkness on the other side.
But look what we found. This is perfect. And I yank it up.
And Lazarus goes, yes, this will make a mighty fortress for me. And he'll hop in the eye socket of it.
And so, Lazarus, now that we found it, do you remember how to get back?
No.
All right, let's go back.
We'll come back to you, perhaps another scene here in a bit. Fonzie, what NPC interaction, what scene, what moment do you want to have here?
All right, Mina and I have been on stakeout for a while. Like we've been sent on a story on a scoop. I'm happy with it being we're trying to catch Leatherpound and Dark Glass together, but I'm also totally happy if you have another interesting idea of just like a rumor that we're trying to follow up on, but it's been a long process to catch any actual evidence.
I like let's stick with the thought that you have there. Let's have you make an investigation roll.
Okay. And yeah, I'll burn a spell slot to be proficient in investigation for now. How do I do that? I'll double check the aspects of how that actually works. But
basically, you can add your proficiency bonus then to it when you're after your roll.
So that'll be a 12.
That's a 12. I think you will see them together, but it's unclear what their relationship is. You can see that it's almost like an old married couple in some ways, where Leatherpound is sitting there calmly listening as Dark Glass essentially repeats much of the same things that we've seen them talking about with Wolfie earlier on. And they seem just very companionable together.
This hardly looks like something we can write about, though.
Oh, this is not good.
Oh, no, this is not good at all. Okay, I have an idea. It's a little risky. I have an idea.
Should I ask, says Amanda?
No, but
Okay.
just make sure you have the camera ready.
Okay.
All right, we're going to wait for one of them to leave.
Okay. You will see Dark Glass will head off. They will say, well, I must meet with my amanuensis that I now have. That's good. Good. I'm glad you have somebody to hang with. Very good. Good. Taking things down for you. I will talk to you later.
And after they leave, I follow them for a while at like a safe distance till they get out of eyesight of Leatherpound, and then I cast Disguise Self. It's a terrible idea.
This is a terrible idea.
This is a really bad idea.
Let me guess, you haven't thought about it. You haven't thought about it all the way.
Haven't thought through all of it yet.
Okay, all right.
Okay. You cast Disguise Self.
And take on the form of Dark Glass and circle back around to Leatherpound. The worst idea.
And Leatherpound is... Was it something else you needed?
Oh, I think I forgot one of my books. Can you help me find it? And we never established like what kind of space we are in during this. Are we at the library?
Let's say it's like a little teacher's lounge kind of room.
Yeah. I think I might have dropped it under a table and just like doing a really bad job of attempting to flirt to see if Leatherpound does anything.
I would like you to roll deception at a disadvantage.
Oh, excellent. Oh, that's not great. So that's a 7.
So this Leatherpound will, and then Leatherpound will say, I don't seem to see your book here.
Oh, I'm sure I left it here somewhere.
See, what's interesting to me is that you're an Inkmancer.
Well, you've always known that I'm an Inkmancer.
Yes, which means...
What makes that interesting?
Which means that you know where every one of your books are at every moment.
Well, you've caught me. I walked away and realized that I had to see you again and couldn't wait for our next planned meeting.
This isn't working.
You don't care for me?
And he will stand up and he will say, you have until the count of 3 to drop whatever guise it is that you currently are wearing.
And I allow just like a tear to start to well up, and then I run out of the room crying. I get back to Mina. I think that went pretty well. Did you get any pictures?
Of what?
He's right behind me, isn't he?
He's very, very right there. We should probably keep moving.
And I try to round a corner and drop the spell.
I would like like how does I don't think there's even a role for this. How does this resolve out?
I think I'm definitely dragged in front of Darkbow. If not Direland, maybe in front of Direland for impersonating a faculty member. That's
He actually
pretty
takes
bad.
you to the provost, takes you to Eos Deklos, who seems to be the person who, when Direland isn't talking, who talks, and we'll come in and we'll drop you into the seat and we'll say, Master Deklos, this one was impersonating a fellow instructor. Oh, that's very bad. That's very bad. Leave him with Eos Deklos. Eos Deklos will figure out what is going to happen.
Sure, Eos Deklos. Whoa.
Eos Deklos is very, very disappointed in you.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think that
Eos Deklos knows both of Master Fonzie's parents, respects them, enjoys their company, has had dinner parties with them, and now Eos Deklos is forced to tell them of this perfidious act that you've done.
I mean, in fairness, Eos Deklos, I'm not entirely sure that they'd even be surprised. Perhaps disappointed, but
that is even more of a scandal to Eos Deklos' ears. Eos Deklos thinks that perhaps Master Fonzie has not gotten the proper attention and parental love that you really need.
Eos Deklos might be very, very right about that. I think that this is a matter of parental love.
Eos Deklos understands.
I am glad, Eos Deklos. So
each morning you are going to come here after you have breakfast and speak with Eos Deklos.
Oh, Eos Deklos. I wouldn't have you put yourself out like that.
And at the end of the day, you will come and you will tell Eos Deklos how your day was.
Oh, Eos Deklos is all of that necessary for Eos Deklos to have to do?
Eos Deklos otherwise would have to send you to the detention bog.
Well, I look forward to our morning and evening chats, Eos Deklos.
Excellent. 2 weeks. Let's have another go around, because I think Fenn's still in the swamp. Let's do another scene for you, Wolfie.
Oh.
Do you have something, or do you want me to throw something at you?
Before we do,
yeah,
I thought it would be fun if we each added a rumor around the school that maybe Fonzie is checking out or has rejected checking out.
So what is the rumor that you would like to add into the circulation for Fonzie's potential?
I think I'm amidst the usual, this person's with that person, and the sports ball team is using magic enhancing spells or performance enhancing magic. I think there is a rumor that members of the faculty are in some sort of like dark cult and they are gathering like in the middle of the night. It's probably nothing.
Fen, do you have an additional rumor to throw out onto the table that we have in general circulation?
Mothball eats student bones.
Fen is immediately fascinated.
Yes, absolutely. So they're edible?
So expand on that. What do you precisely mean?
Mothball?
Mothball.
The teacher.
Like consumes them magically, choose on them? Like what is the visual that we're getting here?
So what someone was telling Fen is that they saw Mothball packed a lunch and it was a bunch of finger digits. And he was just chomping on them like snacks.
Okay.
And no one else saw it. Just one kid started saying that. And now it's just all over campus.
So Fonzie will come back to you with those two new rumors out in circulation.
Oh, I have a rumor idea too.
add a third, and then we'll come to Cisco C.
Okay. So my rumor is that the reason that Dark's School is under renovation was that the last class to dorm there tried to exercise a group astral projection and astrally projected the entire house into another dimension. And it has been replaced with the parallel Dark School house. No one has seen those students since, but they're probably fine.
I think that's a very good rumor.
Can I add a detail to that? Like,
I actually want to leave that one just as it is, if you don't mind. But Cisco, what's another scene that you want to call?
Man, I just love our little spider people.
Okay.
I think I meet maybe like a very distraught little tiny spider lady with a big bonnet, and maybe the town is in some sort of spiritual crisis, or they need maybe like some sort of council or parochial services of some kind, and like Wolfie is finally able to like function in his role, right? But for these people that like maybe nobody cares about really, you know?
Absolutely. This is one of the days when your sort of aggressive Woody Harrelson spider friend will come down and say, "Are you really a priest? Are you really a priest?
Oh,
I asked you 3 times.
Yes. What can I do for you?
I need you to perform last rites."
Yeah. And I think like you just hear Wolfie like on the stone wood floor, and then he comes back and he brings back his like last rites, like manual.
And he will have you go and take you to where there's one of these sort of back rooms, and there are several of those driders, and one of these driders that is on its back, little legs up.
Oh no.
And you can see that there are a number of driders who are there. There seems to be an undercurrent of anger here.
Oh.
But they will bring you in and say, "Can you perform the rites here? This was our priest."
Oh no. Sure. And I think Wolfie has seen his dad do this maybe before, so he stumbles at the beginning, but I think he tries to say something eloquent and poignant.
What do you think it is? Is this performance, or do you feel like it's something else there?
Maybe religion. Don't I have a?
Yeah, there is a religion skill.
Yeah, maybe religion.
Yeah, let's have you roll that.
And then I have something called Shelter of the Faithful. I can perform the religious ceremonies of your deity, but I think I'm probably that probably doesn't come into play because I think I'm trying to perform it.
Right. This is more about their reaction.
It's about them. Yeah.
Roll. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that went poorly.
So I think you'll get that done. They will appreciate it. And then you'll see a group of the spider folk, the sort of the angry ones at the edges, kind of gather some things up. And you see them heading out with a purpose.
Oh no. I'll turn to Woody Spiderson and ask him, like, there's a lot of tension here. Like, what happened?
So your little alchemist friend left a little something around, and
Oh no.
some of them are blaming him for the passing of the priest.
Oh no. And what do they mean to do to him?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah. I mean, no, but yeah.
They are going to wait until he's asleep, and then they are going to layer him with venom and other things from our people.
I'm guessing that our alchemist friend probably has like favorite paraphernalia that maybe he uses, and they're going to put the venom in that. Is that what that is?
He looks like he goes, oh, no. We're going to wait till he's asleep. And then, as we sometimes do, just to climb across the face, a few drops in the mouth.
Oh. Oh no. Okay, I think Wolfie's gonna try to face the crowd.
Okay, you gonna try and talk him down?
The mob, yeah, he's gonna face the mob. I think they have little pitchforks and like tiny little torches.
Yeah, they are heading out. You can easily get ahead of them. What is it that you are saying to them?
I think we get a shot like from something from like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sort of thing, like from behind the mob, and then you see just Wolfie's like face, like just get down real low and just whisper and say, "Hello, I couldn't help but notice that you all seem very angry, and I was wondering if I could help."
All right. So I think to talk them down, to get them so that they are a little more willing to listen and maybe stop them. I think, let's see here, insight would be one, persuasion would be another, or even religion, if you want to lean into that. I think there are a couple of ways that you can do this.
Yeah. I think that I will lean into the religion since this was a priest.
Okay.
And I think I've probably been there and gathered enough that like there's some sort of benevolence to their faith and an aspect about forgiveness being important. And
okay.
And maybe this just being an accident,
Let's have you roll.
Okay. Just hope it's better than the other one. Oh no, you guys. It's a 10.
I think that you will kind of get them a little calmed. But I think one of them will stride forward and will say, all right, we will stop this time. But if there is another death, nothing can stay our poisoned claws, our legs. Our vengeance will be terrible. Terrible. Can you hear me? I'm shouting. Terrible.
Can we smash cut to Lot and I walking across campus to get to another dorm, and I say, man, this after exam party is gonna be killer. And we are headed to invite other dorms to come over to Dark's school after exams have completed, because we're going to have the party to end all parties to close out the semester.
All right. So this is maybe a role for you, like trying to get people to come to your ramshackle dorm for a party when there are other potentially better rival parties out there, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. We've got Lot, and he's a very skilled alchemist. So this party's going to be off the hook.
All right. So I won't give you disadvantage on the roll.
Well, thank you.
But let's have you roll what is one of your strengths, persuasion, to try and get a good crowd to come next week.
Yeah. Charm person stops working after you've left the person's presence, right?
And yes, and they're also aware that you've cast a spell on them.
Yeah, I think that I'm like inclined to do it, and then like Lot stops. He's like, "No, I've tried that.
That doesn't work.
Doesn't work." Okay. So I'm making a persuasion. So instead, I do give myself proficiency in persuasion.
Okay.
So it comes out to a 9. It's probably not many people that I convince.
I think we'll consider them the low end. You've still got another week, but I do think that that there are a lot of people that are like, oh, we're going to House Malbrecht's party. You know, they've got a big thing set up, and
those pompous assholes.
And I think there's you're kind of trying that tack, but I think you get a little bit of the, oh, you're very clearly jealous kind of thing. It doesn't track, but there are a few people who will listen. These are maybe the marginal people from various houses that are like, oh, sure, we'll be there at your party.
Yeah, we weren't invited to Malbrecht.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does that seem cool? Like, kind of set that up for the future? Fen, how lost are you?
I mean, the first thing that I do after talking to Lazarus is walk up to the tallest tree that I can find, place my hand upon it, and ask it, where is society? So I think I'm not lost, because surely this tree can point me in the right direction. And I do have an ability for that. Let me find that real quickly. That is... Come on, pop up. My character sheet's not popping up. Is it here and I just don't see it?
I get that a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I do have a verbal ability to talk to beasts and plants. And it's a very simplistic type of conversation. And I'd read you the specifics, but my character sheet's not popping.
I can see it. You can communicate in a limited manner with beasts and plants. Let's have you make a nature roll with advantage.
All right. What is my modifier on a nature roll?
Let's look here. Fen, what's up again? Your nature roll is a 2.
+2. That is a 9.
That is a 9. But you get to roll with advantage, so you get to roll twice.
Do it again. Yeah. /R D20 +2. Ooh, much better. 19.
I think that you will Trina will say, well, follow this way and go this way, and follow that road and then turn this way and go, and you will find yourself back at the gate of Witherbloom. You should not be this far out, little fearbulk.
But thank you. I appreciate that. I'd say, look what I found, but I don't think you can see, can you?
I know that you carry death with you.
It's beautiful.
That is a matter of perspective.
Thank you again.
And yeah, you will walk with your skull. It's probably super late by the time you get to the gate of Witherbloom.
Yeah, and I would like just one more part to that. There is a point where I encounter something that is large and monstrous, and I have to use my ability to be invisible.
Okay.
And so I think there's a scene where you have like some sort of a monster just like chilling, getting ready to go to sleep for the night, and a frog that is just like floating through and across, because I think I can turn myself invisible, but not necessarily the frog that's on my head.
I think this big, scaly bog beast kind of rolls over. You're like, because you're very clever about being invisible. You're moving with some care, but the eyes of this thing are definitely tracking where you are. At what point do you realize that the frog is still visible?
I think it's like when I'm halfway across this clearing, right? And so it starts like a slow, careful floating frog, and then it turns into a long strider, extra speed floating frog that just bursts out of there.
Kind of see the double take on it as this frog shoots off like lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take our second break. Take 5. We'll come back and we'll talk about the study and exam system here. I'm going to.
Yeah.
So there are 2 phases. There's a studying check that's made, and we'll talk about what kinds of skills can be used for that. If you succeed on your studying check, that means you can get advantage on one of the 2 exam rolls that you're going to make. So studying can be, preparation. It can be hitting the books. It can be sleight of hand to cheat. It can be whatever you're doing to get ready for the exams. It can be like performance, if you're like creating yourself a series of mnemonics to remember things. You've got all of those kinds of things to determine what works there. You can also, if you want to, pull an all-nighter to get an additional advantage on a second one of the tests, but that will give you a couple of levels of exhaustion that you'll have when it comes time to party afterwards. Wolfie, what would you do to prepare yourself for your exams that are coming up?
Oh man, probably pray a lot, but besides praying, I think just do the old-fashioned work. Just hit the books.
Okay, so what do you want to call that? Does that feel like history? Does it feel like
is this all of our exams in general, or is this
yeah, you're going to get
subject?
to pick 2 of the classes that you're going to make the rolls for the exams for.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, we what class does Dark Glass teach?
Dark Glass teaches your terminology course.
Okay, so we definitely got a roll for their class because we've already said that Wolfie is like super terrible at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that would be it's terminology. Is there one of these that's like just knowledge of magic?
Arcana.
Arcana. There you go. I think it's just Arcana. What do you guys think?
If that's what you're focusing in on, just trying to get those magical fundamentals down.
Yeah, I think that makes
have
sense.
you roll with Arcana.
Okay.
DC is 12.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Been rolling terrible all night. Okay, I rolled a 4.
So what goes wrong with your studying? Do you study the wrong things? Do you fall asleep? Do you get distracted? What do you think it is?
I think as since it's Ignis Dark Class that teaches the class, I think they expect a minimum level, like we said before, of Inkmancy. And I think that the words won't stay put, much to my frustration.
That seems fair. So you do put the study in, you're doing the time, you're reviewing all the courses, you've got some focus, but you don't feel like you wanted more of an edge going into this.
Yeah, I think it might be the sort of thing where we even maybe get a montage of me opening books and there's like ink squirting out and like the books are fighting back. And maybe I show up to the test like just covered in it. And
okay.
It's
now you do have the option of also pulling an all-nighter to just automatically get yourself a reroll on one of these, but you're going to be exhausted when you go into the partying phase.
I think that I want to see the interplay between the fact that I'm like they're amanuenses, but I'm really doing badly in their class, and like how Wolfie's going to react to that because he tries to be an overachiever.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Alphonse, how are you preparing for your test?
By cheating off of somebody else's notes.
Okay.
So my thought on it, I feel the most Alphonse way of going about this is I find somebody in one of my classes who's really been excelling, spend probably like a solid week being really, really nice to them, and like, bringing them drinks at the cafe, that kind of thing. And then finally, when I'm going to just go and ask if I can borrow the notes, I go ahead and cast Charm Person on them. And then once I get my hands on them, I'm going to hide so I get a little bit more than an hour of time looking through like their really well documented notes.
So does this feel like persuasion is your gambit here, or deception?
What I was hoping for was they can get their wisdom saving throw on the spell. If I succeed at that, then get a persuasion with advantage.
Okay. What is your DC for your save here?
What is the DC for my saves? Oh gosh, it's only a 13. 13's enough.
Well, let's see what their wisdom bonus is.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's right. They get a bonus. It's probably not enough.
Actually, roll me a d6. Let's see where their strength lies.
Okay. It's just my.
So they do have a wisdom bonus. So they'll be like, you just cast on me.
It's practicing.
I thought we were friends.
I have a practical exam coming up.
Tears running down their face. So let's see though what you are able to get. Roll your deception or persuasion, what you are able to wring from them before the spell.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and roll it as deception because I've made an enemy through this. But that's a 20. That is 20 natural 20, 25 total.
So even though you hope to really seal the deal with this, you've still got that. And I think with a nat 20, I think you have 2 rerolls. You can reroll on each of the test rolls if you want. You've really outdone yourself.
I've made an enemy, but I've also perhaps made a passing grade.
Absolutely. And Fen, what is it for you for preparation for studying?
Yeah, I think there's probably a study group in the library, and I've kind of recognized, I've got some natural talent in the kind of druidic magics, but all this school magic, this arcana stuff, not exactly a strength of mine. So going hunting down a study group to just kind of hit the books with. And so I see that as probably an arcana check.
So arcana or persuasion, either one of those would be good.
Yeah, I'll go persuasion.
Yeah.
Ooh. That I think is an @1 plus.
Oh no!
On the opposite end of the spectrum from Fonzie, how is it that you end up getting tossed out of your study group?
Oh man, I think I think that what was that? Just 1 second. Names. Sure. They're here. We've got. Oh yes, Rampart and Lorraine.
Yeah.
Lorraine. Yeah. And the other Zaramar dorm people are the ones that, and I brought a plant and I set it on the table, and I'm talking all of this nature stuff where they want to
we're very weak on nature. This is great. Go on.
Yeah, so I've been working on this math problem for a long time though. And if you look at this little tree that I created, I think it personifies the math problem. I was going to turn it in for the answer. What do you think?
That long silence. I don't think you can do that.
What do you mean?
Like it's a written test.
You don't think that? So anyway, what did you have for the answer to?
Yeah. And I imagine that's the first of several occasions where you kind of are slightly off from where there is, and then there's that moment where they kind of do that thing where they're like, I think we're done for the day. I think we're to break up, and we'll tell you when we're going to meet together again. Okay.
Okay. I'll catch you at the next study session.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow, right?
Maybe. Yeah. We'll tell you.
All right. I'll see you here tomorrow, same time.
Yeah.
Great.
And then they're just not there.
Guys, where'd you go?
All right. So for the testing phase, you have 5 classes that you can roll your test in. You've got your Arcana class. That's the Thaumatology class. So that's the Thaumatology. You'd be rolling Arcana. Your History class, you'd be rolling History. The Wheel of Magic class, you'd be rolling Insight, because it's kind of about the philosophy of things there. Your Terminology class, you'd be rolling Investigate. Or if you want to take your test in the Introduction to the Dark World, you'd be rolling Deception.
Oh.
Wolfie, what is the first of the 2 classes that you want to roll your test in?
We are definitely gonna do Thaumatology.
Okay.
I'm a mess. I show up like covered in ink. It's in my hair. It's just awful.
Yeah, Mothball is like kind of comes up and sniffs you, and people are like, he's gonna eat his bones. Look, watch, he's gonna eat his bones. It's like I did something happen? You reek.
Inkmancy is I struggle.
Fine. Use a pencil, and he'll have you sit. Let's have you roll your Arcana roll, and let's see how you do.
It can't possibly be worse than what I've been rolling, right?
Welcome to
guys?
D20,
Oh my
Look
gosh!
at you!
The first high roll.
Okay, so you have one of your two tests. You've hit you feel good coming out of it. Like you're like, that's stuff I knew.
Yeah, I think me working for Dark Glass has like paid off.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's some like vocab there that they keep bringing up, and so it sort of becomes more clear.
Fonzie, which is the first of the two classes that you want to roll your test in? And you get a re-roll.
Yeah, on both.
On both.
Yeah. So I think Fonzie, after their initial embarrassment in their dark arts class, has really has actually taken the study of that pretty seriously, and has gone in to write their essay on why they actually were right, that like doing things well is the foundation of an ethical life. That it's a tough argument, but they're compelled. They're going to make it much more cogently than they did at the beginning of the semester.
Let's have you roll Deception DC 12. Oh, so you just squeak out.
Yeah.
The one on that. You come out, you feel good, but you're also like that where you're like, I think I did well, but I'm not entirely sure. Fen, what is the first of the two classes that you want to be tested in?
First, Fen is shocked that like that animal handling class that was like the extra class is like, what? I can't take an exam in this?
These are extracurriculars. You need to pass 2 of your major exams into 4 classes.
Gosh. All right. Let's start with the dark arts.
Okay. Then roll Deception. Oh, you just, much like Fonzie, you squeak out that win.
Psst, Fonzie, stop reading my paper.
Oh, my argument's completely different.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even looked. It's like my mind.
Yeah.
It's things I can't unsee.
Yeah. It's deception because it is a certain amount of argumentation and like counterfactual proofs, and the focus seems to be on proving the unreality of certain things. It's a very odd exam. Wolfie, I assume that your second course you want to take a test in is your fine mentor Inkmancy class, or would you like to go for one that maybe you have a little bit more strength in? You muted.
We just saw Wolfie in the class that he struggles in. I think we're going to see Wolfie in the class that he excels at. Which one's the Magic Wheel class?
Magic Wheel is Insight.
It's Insight. Is that the name of the class? Is the Magic
Wheel of Magic? Yes.
Wheel of Magic. Okay. I think that to mostly everyone's frustration, the the exam ends up being not a multiple choice exam, but it ends up being all essays that you get to choose. And one of the questions is complementary magics in everyday use vis-a-vis counter curses. And it ends up being something that Wolfie saw every day back home, farmers coming into the temple and being like, I tried to do this thing and now my arm is on my face, and how to like use complementary magic to undo these things, essentially.
Perfect. Roll insight.
Okay. Roll a 7.
I think you write with animated spirit and lots of examples and things like that, but maybe you don't actually answer the question. Does that seem
maybe
fair?
I think maybe I run out of time.
Yeah. And time. And you're just about to get to the actual argument of it, Wolfie.
Oh no.
But you passed one of your exams.
Huzzah.
Yep. And that will allow you essentially once per session, you can add a D4 to your Arcana roll.
Okay.
But you also have passed the test, and you're not going to have to go for remedial classes or anything.
Oh, good.
Fonzie.
I think maybe Dark Class like says something that for them is like very complimentary, but it's just.
I saw that you were adequate.
Thank you.
Fonzie, what do you want for your second test?
I'm going to start this off with a quick question. Do you have a thought on which of my parents is on sabbatical and which one is teaching this semester?
I was thinking it was your, in my head, it was your mother teaching your father on sabbatical.
Okay, that works. And I think that she has said, but because Ilosteklos let her know that there is going to be some special tutoring that was going on for me.
Yeah.
And Eosteklos also brought up that Eosteklos felt like perhaps home environment hadn't been all that it should be. My mother has given me an ultimatum: you will pass thaumaturgy or you are not coming to the family dinner over the break.
Yes. Or does that make me a bad parent?
No, that's fair. I think it's fair. Yeah. Thaumaturgy?
There's
easy.
nothing
Thaumaturgy.
like spending an hour with Eosteklos, with him, a bachelor, telling me why I have not raised you right.
Well, Eosteklos has very strong opinions that are Eosteklos' opinions to have. Eosteklos. All right, so I go to take my thaumaturgy
Roll
test.
Arcana.
Good thing I have advantage.
No, it's a reroll.
Oh, it's a reroll. Okay.
Now, roll your reroll. Oh.
Welcome to family dinner.
Absolutely. And you will ace your exams there. You hit the high points on those. Then, what would you like for your second class? The skills available are Arcana, History, Insight, and Investigation.
I would like the insight, and that was like the Inkmancy.
That is the Wheel of Magic, but with our
Magic.
Prismari instructor, Heather Toes.
Yeah, I would like to take that Wheel of Magic exam.
Roll with Insight.
Ooh.
So it's close, but you just kind of fall a little bit down towards the end. What is it that like Is it that there's too much information? There's too many questions to answer? What is it for you?
I think I had a very, very solid argument in the paper, but the like closing statement was pictures instead of words, and they did not like having a concept expressed through picture.
And there'll be the end of like after this intense couple of days of exams and studying things like that, when the three of you like are catching your breath. Tonight's a big party. I assume that Fonz, you've let them in on the fact that you're holding a party at the dorm.
I think what I picture is like we're all walking back to the dorm.
Well, I've got a little scene here, so I just need to tell you have you tell me what you've informed them, but nothing yet.
I meant to, but the pressure of preparing for exams.
So I think you pass by a number of other of these, classrooms where you can see exams going on. And I think there's a weird moment where the three of you are walking along, and you will see Professor Leatherpound in a room clearly proctoring an exam, but you kind of glance in and he's there, but there are no students in the room.
He must really like proctoring exams.
What do? Kind of stand there for a while. I hear you kind of watching this hat, 1, 2, 3, standing there. And after about 10 minutes, he will say, all right, and clearly says something to the classroom. And then you see him pack up his stuff and get ready and go to leave the classroom. And he'll kind of come out the door. I assume you three are kind of still kind of out there. Mr.
Yes, Fenn? I think that just going for it. I felt bad enough about getting caught the last time that I'm like, you know what? I don't want him to see my face.
Okay.
I've disguised myself again as somebody else from our class.
Duck out. So say, Mr. Fenn, Mr. Cisco, how'd your classes go? How'd your exams go?
Oh man, they were rough. I mean, the dark arts were fine, but man, that's a hard wheel.
I understand. Well, it'll only get tougher next year in second year, as you can tell. And he gestures back to the empty classroom.
Yeah. Why is it an empty classroom?
That's what you're talking about.
You were lecturing an empty classroom?
No, I just gave my just proctored the exam for the second years.
Are they invisible?
No, what are you talking about? Well, I need to get on to my next exam. I will see you. And he proceeds to walk away down the corridor away from you.
I would like to detect magic on the room that he was in.
Why don't you
I
cast that? And let's have you make a wisdom check here. I think this is appropriate. That's sort of your strength.
Okay. There we go. Ew.
I think there's a moment that, like a flicker of a moment, as he came out of there that for a second you could feel that something was wrong, but now it just seems normal again. But there's definitely no students in that room. And he definitely thought there were.
He's crazy.
And it's about that time that you start thinking and you realize you've never seen a second year student. Not the entire time you've been here this first semester. You've seen a lot of first years. You've seen third years and fourth years, but you have never seen a second year student.
What about you, Wolfie? Have you seen any second years?
No,
Straight-
I actually haven't.
It's weird.
But it doesn't matter because you got a party tonight.
Oh, right.
So is it very clear that Fonzie wants nothing to do with this mystery?
Oh no, I think
No.
Fonzie is like probably because you've disguised yourself as another student, so you've overheard all this, and when you think about it, yeah, you haven't seen a second year.
And is it not just this year, but like growing up? I
Oh
never
no,
saw a second year.
no. It's just now that it's like it. You know how I've kind of sometimes described some of the things as like half filled or not filled. Like you start to kind of put two and two together. There's a whole year of students missing. And that's what we'll take up next session. If you don't mind, I would like to do a quick stars and wishes, particularly wishes being things that you definitely want to see more of, or things you want to see or see less of, any of that kind of thing, just to kind of go around to get us set. Cisco, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, seems good. Vincent, there were so many moments that I loved. The writing the letters in your parents' handwriting, I thought that was like a really nice touch. I just had a conversation with my 10-year-old son about don't try to forge my signature. And so you bringing that up was like especially timely and awesome, and I think like a very real touch. I love that. And then you just lean into like the do whatever for the sake of the story as a reporter, and I really love that. So just throwing caution to the wind and impersonating a teacher, even though of course that's most definitely probably frowned upon at Strixhaven. You did it anyway, and I just love that. Nicholas, star to you. You also had several moments that I just loved. Still love your fascination with the macabre and the skulls. Love that. Going out to the forest was also a moment, just like Vincent throwing caution to the wind and just being like, you know what, this might be dangerous, but it just makes things more interesting. Love Fenn's social uncalibration. I think that makes him very lovable. And I love how their learning style doesn't fit the school. Like, it's just like, here's a picture. It shows that I understand the material. Why will you not accept this?
Right.
Or here's a plant that I grew.
And it is a very well argumented
yeah, well articulated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. In the Feywild, that's, I'm sure, completely
that should be fine.
Yeah, love that so much. And then so I just love both of you leading into like what's not necessarily safe, but just like what's just really interesting. Lowell, I like just wrote quote after quote of things that I loved from today's session. I think this was like the most quotable session, so I'm just gonna go through this. The frog coming back to life and being like, I am the croaking fate. Amazing. Arrow's Declos talking in the third person all the time. Is that, I have to know, is that in the book or did you make that?
Oh no, that's mine. That's one of my
That's
NPCs
amazing.
I love.
That's just so like, that's just such a good quirk, you know, like when you're the GM, you want to have NPCs that have a quirk. Such a good quirk. I've never had an NPC do that, but I'm stealing it
Oh yeah, you should.
So much,
It's a really if you keep it straight, it's really effective.
It's so good. And then another star to Vincent for like playing off of that. Like I think Eros Deklos wants to do what Eros Deklos wants to do. So that was like so great. I love that. I wrote here dark glass, open quote. Oh yes, some levity. Haha. Love that. Such a good moment. Using the word perfidious, like so good. And then your little spider person being like, can you hear me? Because I'm shouting right now. It just, and that, like, that was just the ones that I caught. I think this was probably like the most quote, like if this was a 90s movie, I would be quoting it all the time today's session. It was so quotable. I love that. As far as wishes, I want to see Fonzie get like a level 6 clinger the next time they fail their charm person roll.
Okay.
So it backfiring with them having like a super fan after that. And then the next time that Fen finds himself in an awkward situation, I maybe want to see it that's because of Lazarus, like talking to other people or just like creeping them out, you know, or somebody else has like speak animal and he's like, I know what's on the other side, man. And they're like, we cannot hang out with you. Like, this is just too weird. You and your frog need to go.
Your frog's creeping me out, man.
Your frog's creeping me out, man. This is not cool. So yeah. And then I want to see I guess this is another star to Lowell for like coming up with the whole plot line about our stoner friend accidentally poisoning one of these spider people. That was super great coming up with that on the fly. No pun intended. And so I want to see, I guess I want to see that maybe in the middle of the party or just in the middle of something else. Wolfie trying to like play diplomat. That's pretty great.
Especially if you see them trying to assassinate your friend during the party.
Trying to stop an assassination by like these species that live in the castle, which I super love.
All right. Vince.
Okay. First, Nicholas, like every aspect of Lazarus the Frog. So, you know, this is really a star both to Lowell and to Nicholas. Just that entire interaction and it building and building and building, and especially Nicholas's like Fenn's like non-reaction to any of it, where he's just like, okay. It made me think of Pete Davidson's characters on SNL, who are constantly getting flirty with. Cisco, I really love the interaction with the spider folk, and that you keep on coming back to it. Like it's a nice little bit of like lore that's getting built on this. So your relationship with spiders and your relationship with ink both entertain me a whole lot. I think a big star that I would have, maybe not necessarily for the next session, but I'd love to see it as part of the arc. You're so dedicated to Wolfie's faith, and I would love him to develop a congregation within the school that perhaps is disruptive to studies if people suddenly are considering themselves to really be more devoted to Essen than to thaumaturgy. Okay. I think that'd be really entertaining.
Anything else, wishes wise or anything?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Nicholas.
So 2 stars for Cisco, 1 for the Ring of Books. I thought that was a super cool visual for how you're bouncing from one ledger to another ledger. And then Wolfie's scene with the Driders where, I mean, your religion roll did not go well and you almost had to deal with some consequences for that. I think the miniature Driders are just a super fun element, and I really appreciate you keep bringing them back. 2 stars for like asking the table to fill in details. One of them when it was, what are the study topics? And one of them for what are some things that could be investigated? So I always enjoy when kind of the table comes up with a buffet of options. That's always a great thing. A star to Vincent for the undercover scene that was gonna go romantic but did not go romantic at all. I thought that was a fun scene. And then what do I want to see? I want to see the Driders. I think that that could go hand in hand with what Vincent wants with the congregation. I want to see more of the investigation, and I want to see Fen doing more forest wandering, which could be dangerous.
So I'll say I enjoyed this very much. I was sad we didn't have Matt here, but it was fun to play out. I appreciate everybody playing with me on the okay, let's choose some things and adding to that, adding to the houses stuff. I thought all the things that you added today were really strong. Let me talk a little bit in the meta. So we've got 3 sessions. So today I have put out the open question plot. So that is sort of the open question plot. We'll at least do something with it, but there's going to be a lot. I want to still give you the room to play around and do whatever you want within that. But we'll kind of be looking at how we can find some answers to that, especially so we can put maybe a couple more fights in the course of the sessions. But that's sort of the big P with the plot that I've got out there.
The plot being like who mutated these frogs, right?
And where are the second years?
And where are the second years?
Where are the second years?
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And I will throw out every wish that I had to be in another combat, because I can enlarge myself, and I'm already large, and I need to see that in combat.
Absolutely. And we're gonna have a party scene next time. We'll figure out how that gets played out. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to stop the recording. I can find my mouse.